everyone, this is C Squared with Cori and Curtis. We are here today with Jessie May, the author of Money Hacks for Metalheads and Older Millennials. She's going to be giving us some tips and insights, and she's also joining us for the PR challenge we have coming up. So we will get started with her.
Yeah, Jessie, great to have you back after like
Hi.
3 months.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
So as a starter here, so can you kind of give an update on not so much like, a little bit of an update of where you've been for the last 3 months, since you're not as focused, or not focused, not as, what's the right word? Visible as you were a few months ago?
Yeah, I had a baby. Whoa. He's with his dad right now over there having a bottle.
Yep.
And dad is the rock star over here. He's got the baby and one of the cats sitting on him.
Nice. Very nice. Very nice.
But yeah,
So you had a baby, but you've still been kicking ass in the sales department with the book. Like you just had, you got in the top 100 for metal books, wasn't it?
Yeah, heavy metal music books and Kindle, which is oddly specific. But I mean, it changes every day. Like a couple of days ago, I was like in the 200s, and then I was in the 80s, and now I'm back in the 100s. So I think it just goes by how many people purchase it and look at it at any particular moment. But we cracked the top 100, and I have a screenshot to prove it.
That is amazing.
Which is amazing.
Okay, so you're still kicking ass with the books. But you haven't really been promoting the book very much recently. It's mainly been the blog, it seems like, correct?
Yeah, I've been trying to get a little more hype going for Alternative Control CT.
Yeah.
That's a website that I'm the editor of, and a bunch of other people write for it with me. And that's just been trying to talk up some of our new reviews and stuff on there.
Cool. What about the Metalhead Money blog too? Yes.
Yes.
Cool.
that has
everything.
That has new stuff too. It's hard to keep track of all these things.
So like, as someone that has had 2 kids in the past and tried to write and do shit at the same time, when do you kind of fit that in? Because you're doing it sort of, but like, I don't know how you're, like, when are you doing it?
Well, sometimes I'm doing it in notes on my phone.
Okay.
Like early in the mornings. I'm very much a morning person, and my husband is a night person, so that's kind of working out with the baby.
Nice.
But the baby takes a pretty good nap in the mornings, like early. So he wakes up and he eats, and then he takes a little nap before his second breakfast. So
Did you have a hobbit by any chance?
Yeah, he's a little hobbit.
Oh my God. Don't nerd out on Lord of the Rings, guys, please.
Don't judge me for my nerdiness.
Back on topic, guys. Back on topic. So you were saying, Jessie, so you may basically get done in the morning, and the rest of the day is pure chaos with baby poop and baby screaming and all the rest of that, correct?
Pretty much.
Pretty much. Cool. So, okay. So is there going to be, before we move on to the PR challenge stuff, because I know you don't have a lot of time, is there going to be like any money tips for parents showing up pretty quickly here, or how's it? What's going to be happening here? I see a cattail. I thought that was a baby at first.
Oh my God! No, my baby doesn't have a tail.
Well, I just got confused. I was like, "What is that? Is that like his hand?" Anyways, is there gonna be tips and tricks for parents coming up, or what?
I hope so. I'm gonna need a little more time to figure out what those are. Now my main tip and trick is just go to Target and spend all your money.
Okay.
That's pretty much what's happening.
Cool. So now onto the. I'm not gonna say it. I was gonna make a comment about, remember the post? Your kid sure looks. Remember with the cat?
I don't know what you're talking about.
You don't know what I'm talking about? Remember when you had the picture of the baby seat and you had the cat in it, the baby cradle?
Oh yes. Yes.
Anyway, let's make a joke about that. Anyways, I let it out of my mouth. But anyways, so back to the PR challenge. So you are the only qualified person out of everybody in this entire challenge to actually teach, because you hold the teaching degree, right?
Yeah, I'm
trying-
qualified to teach elementary school students how to check out a book from the library.
Elementary school students, metalheads, it's all the same,
Yeah,
basically, right? Same attitude.
I can teach how to use Google Slides if anybody needs to know that.
Well,
Hey,
okay,
useful info.
but you are the teacher of the batch. So out of everybody that's currently going to be teaching on the challenge, you are kind of like the brain of the group because you got the credentials behind you. So what do you think that you can bring to the challenge that the rest of us can't, just to hype yourself for a second?
Well, thanks for setting the bar high.
He does that. He does that
Yeah,
a
right?
lot.
Yeah,
I'm good at
yeah.
that.
A lot.
Did you see what I wrote about you today, Jesse? Yet, but as an aside?
I
You
didn't
haven't
see
read it
that yet, but I know I was a best-selling author earlier this
Yep.
week.
So. Yeah, well, I included that on there. But anyways, just wait till we get off the call and you see how much I hyped you there. But anyways,
Oh boy. Okay,
so,
well, I think actually what I'm bringing to the challenge is looking at the PR issue from a couple different angles. Like I've been in an underground band.
Yeah.
I have hired a PR service yourself in the past.
Yeah.
I've also DIY'd my band's PR at different times.
Mhm.
I've also bartered for PR, making a cashless interaction. Thumbs up.
Multiple times.
And also I edit a blog, so I have an inbox full of thousands and thousands, not an exaggeration, of PR emails, which I'm sure Cori knows all about.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
So I've seen it from that angle. And then in bartering for the PR for my band, I've written the promos that I'm getting in my inbox.
Mhm.
So I've seen them all. And Cori, same thing. I know you're into the writing as well. So just being on all sides of it, I think, I'm going to be one to tell people to manage their expectations.
Yeah.
And give them tips about how they can DIY it more effectively if that's what they choose to do.
Yeah.
And also what they can do to help their PR person if they do decide to go that route with their managed expectations.
Out of curiosity there, because I'm sure Cori's chomping on the bit to ask something since I'm hogging everything as usual, but what would you say would be the expectation a band should have? Because I mean, Owlmaker got Metal Hammer on their first rodeo, which is not really expected, right? So what would you say would be the actual expectations? Because I know you didn't have that.
What, 1,000 magazine covers? Did I see that on Twitter today?
1,000 magazine covers. So what should it be? What should it be? Not 1,000 magazine covers.
The real
I don't know if Cori knows
expectation,
what we're talking about.
real expectation number one is that unless you are an established sales machine, you may not make your money back from PR in sales.
Yeah.
So that you might, I'm not saying you won't, but you may not.
Yeah.
Sales and PR are not exactly the same thing. PR can help you with your sales, but it is not sales. So if you give XYZ PR person $500, that does not mean you will sell exactly $500 of widgets after your PR campaign.
Even if you're in a major magazine, I do want to point out.
Yeah, even if you're in Metal Hammer.
Yeah, even if you're in Metal Hammer. Just wanted to clarify.
Yeah, so PR, the purpose of PR is to get you press. So that's what you have to expect. You should expect that your PR person communicates with you regularly. If you're a newer band, you should expect things like press release reposts. Okay, you can't get disappointed because your review is just a repost of your press release. That is going to happen
all the time.
It is content. It is somebody in the world sharing your news on the internet, so that's okay. You might expect some form interviews. Those are also good. Those are content. Okay, it's your job to make them interesting. But you should also expect to get some like real reviews and interviews that are not just form interviews or reposting your stuff. And being active on social media and responding to things quickly and interacting with different publications, especially on Twitter, can help your PR person get you those things.
100%. And Cori, I'm gonna hand the ball to you for a couple minutes because I've hogged. So go for it. Rant, rave, ask.
So as per usual, you just asked a question that I wanted to ask anyway.
Sorry.
So actually, I wanted to loop back on your book a little bit,
Sure.
just because I work with a lot of people who are just getting started, and I see a lot of people who are just getting started. And I'm curious what your opinion is on, like, what is the biggest budgeting mistake people make early on, do you think, in your opinion? So where are they spending their money that you think, no, you shouldn't spend it there, that's a mistake, when it's this early of the of your career?
So like in general budgeting, or like band budgeting?
Band budgeting. Or general, both will work.
Well, I'd say in band budgeting, good things to spend money on would be a good recording. Okay. You definitely want to have something that sounds good, because then if you don't have that, then everything else you spend money on is a waste.
Yeah.
It is worth, so now I'm answering the opposite question. But definitely spend the money to get a good recording of your band. I do think it's also worth it to get professional looking pictures. Those don't necessarily have to be expensive, depending on who you know and what maybe some of your own talents are, but professional pictures and artwork are important to make you look like you're serious. So those are, I'd say, the couple things you need. You may not necessarily need to spend a lot of money on PR if you have somebody in your band who is savvy with social media and who is good at following up and who has a lot of time on their hands. But if you don't have one of those people, then yes, you should spend money on PR, because that's what you're paying them to do for you. I don't know, does that answer I've heard people, I've never experienced this. My bands have never been important enough to think we need a manager. But I have heard different people say that they felt like they got ripped off by managers, and I've had other people say that they had a really good experience. So I think it depends on like what you can do yourself versus what you want to pay somebody else to do.
And it probably also depends a lot on like the ethics of the people that you choose. Because so I manage a couple of bands, and I hope that they feel like I'm doing a good job. But I mean, there's definitely unethical people out there who will take advantage and just take your money and peace out. So yeah, I definitely get that side of the argument too. But yeah, excellent tips. And I can see, and well, I agree with you. The value of looking professional, it definitely stands out from like my journalistic side of what I do for Metal Injection. When somebody comes to me and they look professional and their album artwork is nice and their press release is well laid out, it definitely stands out more than, you know, somebody who didn't invest in those things.
And now, could I ask a question?
Oh yeah, definitely.
So as a band manager, and keeping in mind, like I've never had any experience with a band manager for my own bands. How would you, or what would you advise people to look out for in terms of finding a good band manager who would not rip you off?
So I'm really, really new to this. I'll just preface all of this with that. But I would say communication. Somebody who's going to rip you off won't communicate clearly. They won't give you specific details of what they're going to do. They're not going to lay out a plan that you can see. These are the action steps that I will be taking to get you X, Y, Z. And so if somebody doesn't do that and they just tell you, oh, you're the greatest band ever and I want to work with you and I can make your career amazing, but they don't tell you how, run.
That's good advice.
Yes.
Well,
if you don't get the how and you just get a bunch of smoke blown up your ass, run away, because they're going to rip you off.
One other thing too, though, Cori, that you should probably point out is that, like, in your case, you offered to like not charge the band to start.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I do manage my bands for free. Because so I really love their music.
Well, yeah. Wow. So I mean, like, you're not going to, like, I mean, that kind of shows that you're trying to help them versus take, right? And I'm not saying obviously that's necessarily the right for you to do for every band, but I mean, you're starting out, if you're working for free and you're trying to get that experience, that goes a long way in showing that you're legit as well, I think. Tooting your horn.
Definitely. Because I'm super inexperienced, I didn't feel comfortable charging
Yeah.
them because I didn't know what I could actually accomplish for them. But I
Yeah.
also did lay out that plan of these are all of the steps. So they have a
Yeah.
new album coming out in April. I have a detailed plan laid out that, these are the steps that we're going to take from, this time to launch, and then post launch, these are all the steps that we're going to take to continue promoting. So I
Wow,
laid out that plan for them.
that sounds awesome.
So Jesse, do you have a few more minutes, or is the
Like
baby 2 more minutes? Okay, so I want to go out I can't talk today. 2 more things I want to go over if possible, if we've got enough time. So number one, can you give a tip for parents, new parents that are trying to stay involved in the community, because you're still doing it, even though I know you're probably not sleeping and you're probably feeding the baby a zillion times a day. Can you give a tip on how to do it and stay enthusiastic?
Well, it's going to be my tip from before to manage your expectations.
Fair.
You're not going to be able to be involved in everything.
Yep.
Your baby will be more important. You will feel like your baby is more important, and you won't really care as much about all the other things. But
I'm kidding. It's a joke. It's a joke, Jesse. It's a joke. I got 2 kids. You know that. I'm joking.
I know. So I'd say my tip is to pick the things aside from your baby that you think are the most important and that you have the most fun being involved in, and just try to set aside a little time to stay involved with those things. Don't feel like you have to be like the queen or king of the scene when you have a baby. You don't have to.
And one thing I noticed that you did prior to having the baby was that you kind of set those expectations in advance with me and with anybody else that you were dealing with, it seemed like, because you were posting about alternative controls going to kind of slow down. I think you did the same thing with Metalhead Money, and you were very, very clear, I'm going to do shit, but I have a kid, just mellow out for a little bit.
Yeah.
And it's going to take some time. Yeah. So I actually really appreciate that. So now, how much time per day would you say would be the correct expectation for a parent with a newborn who wants to stay involved with the scene should have? Because this happens a lot.
I mean, I can't give a time amount because I'm still on maternity leave.
Yeah.
My husband hasn't went back to work. He's going back to work on Saturday.
Fair.
So the time that I've been able to devote to seeing things for the past 7 weeks, that is going to change. It's going to change next week when he goes back to work. And then when I go back to work, I don't know what the expectation will be. Because then there'll be 2 of us working and trying to juggle where the baby's going and what he's doing. So I'd say, again, just, do what you can do and don't feel bad about it. Don't feel like you have to explain yourself or that you're letting people down. The scene will continue. The scene will be there once you have your own schedule figured out.
Fair enough.
So that's not the answer Curtis wanted.
Well, no, I like the answer. No, hey, I did the same thing at first. I know exactly what you're talking about, 100%. So Cori, do you got any final questions for Jessie before we let her go?
No, I think I'm going to save the rest for the PR challenge of all of my questions, because I really am interested in what she has to teach coming up. So I will ask all my questions during that.
All right. Well, looking forward to it with you guys. Thank you for having me today.
And we really do appreciate having you, Jessie. And the other thing I just want to point out before we go, Jessie's lesson is going to be probably one of the best that's in the challenge. I'm tooting her horn right now, just because I've seen her do lessons in previous challenges that I've run, and she always steals the fucking show. So if you join the challenge, do it for no other reason. Quit giving me the eye. I saw the eye, Jessie. If you do the challenge, do it for no other reason than just to hear from Jessie, because she always does fantastic lessons, and they're always short and easy and doable steps, which are fantastic. Anyways, that's all I got.
And guys, the challenge is free. You could sign up for free. Nothing to lose. So
that's it. Yep.
Exactly. Nothing to lose.
All right, guys. See you later.
We're gonna do our outro, Cori.
Okay.
Outro.
Oh.
Outro.
Outro. So that I don't know what to say. Crap. I was not expecting her to sign
Party
off that
on,
fast.
Cori. Party on,
yeah.
Cori. Party on,
Party
Cori.
on, Curtis.
There we go. Now we're done.